Right, I've just changed my flies because I know there's plenty of fish in here and I haven't had a solitary pull, so I'm trying a change of flies and we'll see what happens for a second time. Well, I'm just doing a bit of voiceover to this footage that I recorded a couple of days ago. The day didn't go as planned. Some of my footage was lost with a corrupt file, which is always interesting, isn't it, when you don't know the reason. Anyway, my plan was to explore the water with wet fly first, and then when I found fish rising, I was going to make a mental note and come back and tackle them with a dry fly. Now, this day in particular, because it was pretty windy, it doesn't really come over so much on the video, but believe me, it was windier than it looks. I took my Wychwood 10-foot drift rod, which handles the wind really well, and I didn't get any fish on the first couple of sessions down. Now, I planted the camera further up the bank where I'd lost a big brown trout, but I'm quite a bit further down the pool, and in a moment I hook a really decent fish, which you're about to see. So I set a timer on it from the moment it was hooked. This particular bit of water here, I can see most of the bottom, so it pays to really blend in with the background. The rod I'm using, the Wychwood, is really first class. In fact, I rate it better than my Hardy rod. You know, I've just hooked the fish and I've set the timer on the go. In a moment it jumps clear. There it goes. Must apologise for the substandard video. It's a bit like watching one of those Shakespeare tackle films from the 1950s, but I think you'll see enough of what's going on. Because the rod is matte finish, there's virtually no flash as you're casting, which is a good thing. 4-piece. Everything about the rod, including the composite handle, I like, except for the reel fitting. The reel fitting only has one screw up on the winch fitting, and sometimes you'll find on like half an hour or an hour's intensive fishing that it starts to unscrew itself, which is quite annoying. It's another case of where something for the sake of 30 pence in manufacturing, by putting a locking nut on it, would have made things so much better. But for value for money, it's absolutely excellent. I got that rod for just over £100, and I rate it better than the Hardy rod I've got of the same length and similar line weight, which is like 4.5 times the price. So I'm fishing with a 4-pound leader, 3 wet flies, slightly weighted beaded fly on the tail to help straighten out the leader, and I've got a partridge and orange fly on the first dropper and a cocky bundu fly further up. Later on I changed the tail fly for like a Greenwell spider. So if you're watching this at home, this is the time to have a cup of coffee, because it takes about 5 minutes to play this fish out. Unfortunately, what you don't see is underwater is it's going quite crazy in like small looping runs. The rod is 3 line weight rated. I personally, when it's windy like it was that day, I like to use a 4 weight double taper, which the rod handles very well indeed. And having a nice soft through action, if you hold the rod with a slightly loose hand, any violent jerks from big brown trout or rainbow trout are easily absorbed by the rod rather than have a nasty breakage. I picked up the rod last year and I've had sea trout to 4 pounds. I've had rainbows to just over 5 pounds in weight on it, and a miscellaneous bunch of brown trout and grayling on the fit rod. So getting to that stage when it's going to come in and it takes one look at me and decides it doesn't like me, I'm not really surprised. When I pick the fish up out of the water, it looks as if I'm completely incompetent and don't know how to hold it, but I'm trying to hold the fish with very loose, wet hands, because it's easy with a trout to grip it tightly to keep hold of it, and what you've done is damage the swim bladder and internal organs and return a fish to die. And I want this fish to be around for me or somebody else later on. Also, the poor thing's going to have quite a battle with mink otters, cormorants, mergansers and everything else that fancies a go at it. Right, here we are, it's just about in the net. I'm slipping around a bit because the bottom has got that slimy weed on it, which makes my heavy rubber waders, it's like walking on glass. Right, here we are, a nice brown trout, about 3 pounds in weight, caught on a partridge and orange. There we are. Shot off like a rocket. Oh. That makes the day worthwhile. Right, I've just got this trout, similar size to the... That fish looked extremely small in the net, but believe me, it was easy 2.5 pounds. There's a partridge and orange with a real silk body, worth size 14 I'm using, worth using a proper silk body because it goes sort of mahogany coloured when it's wet, makes a difference. That's like a Greenwell spider that I've just caught that last fish on. That again is using gossamer real silk. So I hope you've enjoyed this little bit.